Justin, you want to lead us in prayer?
Glad to. Y'all bow with me. Most gracious and heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day that you've given us, Lord. Lord, that we pray that you be with this country through the next couple of days, Lord. We pray for our president, Lord. Lord, we ask that you be with this fiscal court as we conduct today's business, Lord. Lead, guide, and direct us in all that we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll go ahead and call Marshall County Fiscal Court to order, February 4th, 2020. First on the agenda, Benita Walker. Good morning, Benita.
I'm staying dry?
Trying to.
Staying dry?
Trying to.
Oh, okay. Hello, I'm Bonita Walker, and I have an ongoing and continuing issue that seems to be, again, need addressed as the local and state law enforcement agencies seem to be standing in place and turning their backs, putting their earplugs in, and unable and unwilling to correct the issue of criminal trespass, theft of income, and destroying property. As I stated before, we have a farm that we have crops on most of the year, as well as trees that we have logged from time to time, fences for our critters, as well as residing on part of our farm. While I'm sure that most of you know what farming and agriculture is, let me bring you up to date and tell you that it is our income and our jobs. Our land may look like an unused field to the untrained eyes, but it isn't. It is food, fiber, and life for a beating heart somewhere, and income for us. This is our farm, our home, and our livelihood. And this is not about politics, although it seems to be that it's coming down to that. To me, politics is about politicians. And politicians seem to be not solving our problems, they're trying to solve their own. And since my last visit and talk here in November, and after my 2 calls to 911 to get a Marshall County deputy and 2-hour plus wait for a deputy to arrive to my trespassing call, that deputy said that he would get back to me. He did not. Last January, 3 months later, I checked on the status of the call, got a copy of my call, my report, and asked for a visit update and when he returned to duty. The report was incorrect, and there were many things missing that had happened. That deputy called me 2 days later when he was on duty. He had no reason why the report was incomplete, incorrect, and said that there was no reason for him to return to the site or get back to me, even though that he had said he would. Yes, this call was recorded by me, and I'm guessing by the deputy. He was able to get in contact with me on my cell phone this time. I asked for an updated version of the report to be sent to my address, and it was corrected. Now it seems there's an upsurge in traffic with the farms, with hunting season and the nicer weather, and even though it's still winter. There's been a full-size pickup truck escorted off of the east side of our property with admonitions not to return. I have pictures of the driver and his driver's license and his truck. And now it seems that horse riding is back in style. And even though Kentucky is not required to have signs posted on property, it is up to the non-owner to know where they are in this Commonwealth. The horses seem to stroll through the crops, and these are not their crops. We don't have horses, mules, donkeys, or jackasses on our farm, although I know there's quite a few. Although I know quite a few of the two-legged kind of the latter. So once again, when is Marshall County Sheriff's Office going to put a stop to the trespassing on the farms and in the rural areas? It's no different for these ATVs and the horses to ride across these farms than it is for them to ride through Shopperama, Walmart, the resorts, Dollar General, the U-Pick farms, and even on the roadways. There are only three instances that ATVs are allowed on the roadways, except for crossing, in this Commonwealth, and that's surveyors, construction workers, and the farmers, and that's per KRS. Even law enforcement and emergency responders are not allowed on the roads, and that's per KRS, and that's a law that I know I have seen ignored. Once again, Marshall County 911 has to take these calls seriously. This is the farmers' incomes. These riders destroy crops, lands, fences, and animals. And after all that, the county attorney, the judges, and all elected officials and the people of this county have to do more than slap their wrists. They have to take their rides, their licenses, and make them pay restitution and make them do some work on the farms that they destroy, in addition to the fines and community services. Every one of you are elected officials, and you serve the people of this county, all of them, not just the ones that can do something for you. And you have let this go on too long. Some of us have a spine and a mouth, and we are no longer afraid. Our birthday can't be taken away. We've had enough, and it's way past time for this fiscal court to step up and make sure that the taxpayers' dollars are spent to protect everyone.
Benita, I think the last time you were here, and let me make sure I understand. You mentioned you had pictures of an OL, operator's license of the driver of the truck.
Yes, I do.
Was that turned over?
No, I didn't even call 911. I just told this guy, don't come back.
I think the last time you were here when we had this discussion, if you can identify the folks that are, trespassing on your property, that's the first step, is to get that information to the sheriff's department.
The judge has said that the first time they're going to get a pass. He has flat made a public statement. The first time he's going to give them a pass.
This court can't speak for the.
I understand that.
But in trying to help and understand what's going on, I think we all understand that people are trespassing on your property.
It's not just my property, sir.
I understand, but I mean, if you've got somebody trespass on your property and you can identify them and you have pics or pictures of their operator's license and their vehicle, I mean, that is definitely something that was discussed. Hand that over to the sheriff's department, and then they can run that through the county attorney's office. I think that was discussed in the last meeting.
We have a trial on Valentine's Day, correct?
I'm sorry?
This Friday? Yeah. I apologize. We have a trial for trespassing on this Friday.
On the same,
No, it's
this is
trespassing.
another?
It's a trespassing thing on my property, yes.
So there's a trial that's on another person that's trespassing?
Yes, sir.
I'm just trying to, and we kind of had this discussion last time, how this fiscal court, when you say step up and do something, I mean, what do you want us to do?
Make sure that the laws are held accountable. Make sure that everyone is held accountable.
Sure.
I know that when I was arrested, the trespassers were not even cited. Their vehicles weren't impounded. They were let go. I'm the landowner, and I was arrested. Yeah, I fired a shot. I was being run over. I felt like I was protecting my life. That's in the past. But all 4 of the ATVs that were there on my property, nothing was done to them. All 7 of the people, nothing was done to them. And they admitted that they were trespassing. They couldn't see the big yellow signs that I do have posted. This is an ongoing issue. Apparently, I'm the only one that has a spine to say something and a mouth big enough to do it.
Well, I'm just trying to understand where you think the fiscal court plays into. We discussed what the fiscal court can do. There's an administrative row that we have, but from a statutory, the legal statutes that are out there for trespassing, I mean, that goes through the judicial courts, through the sheriff's department, through the county attorney's office, and the judicial courts, not the fiscal court.
I'm not sure. Apparently, we can do ordinances and resolutions for 2A. I have deputies that tell me we'll do ride-arounds and we'll do extra patrols, and I set up cameras and they may have gone down Salem Chapel Road South, but they haven't gone past a certain area since November 26th. I have cameras set up. Come on, get real. Salem Chapel Road goes a little bit farther than halfway down it. It's a little bit more than a mile long. It's closer to 2. And you're going to have to get on your ATVs and go down Nanny Creek. And I did turn pictures in to the deputy. and he got in contact with the people that posted the pictures. And they were trespassing. And not a thing was done, except, don't do that again, or at least don't get caught.
Right.
That's exactly the words that was used. That's what he told me. Anyway. Is that all that's going to be done, Kevin?
Well, you have to understand that the fiscal court, that is not the fiscal court's responsibility.
Correct.
So I'm just trying to, I mean, we're obviously, if there is something that the fiscal court can do to help, we want to help, but I don't think, in this case, when you have people that are identified on your property, and you've got law enforcement, I believe the sheriff was here last time, the county attorney telling you to present that information so that they can run it through the proper channels. The fiscal court is not in, I think in 74, they took away the judicial authority that this court has.
That's right. This is the only way to make it public. This is a way to make it public. Everybody knows. There's multiple public venues here, multiple media outlets. It's very public this way.
So, and I guess that's what the court's trying to understand. Are you just trying to make this issue, bring it to aware? I mean, the public side of it, making it a public issue?
It's a public issue.
Or you want
and
action?
I want to make sure that the fiscal court is standing up and saying, this is wrong, and we stand behind you.
Well, sure. If there's people trespassing on your property, we're going to stand up and say it's wrong. And here, you just told us that you had people trespass on your property, but you let them go. I'm just
How am I
saying,
supposed to hold them?
Benita, when you came to the court last time, the proper individuals advised you, if you get into a situation where you can identify those trespassing on your property, what to do.
Yes.
Since then, that, from what you're saying, that happened, but you let them go.
Yeah, I let them, yes. And I'm supposed to wait 2 hours for a deputy to come?
I mean, the fiscal court, we're still trying to understand. I mean, we don't know what you're wanting us to do.
Okay.
I mean, does that make sense?
I understand where you're coming from.
We're not the sheriff's department. We're not the county attorney's office. We don't prosecute cases.
Right. When the sheriff's office takes 2 hours to get there, are you going to make sure that they know that that's wrong?
Have you talked to the sheriff?
No. The last time I talked to the sheriff, he said maybe we'll get there a little bit faster next time.
Okay.
At least he wasn't shot at this time, I believe was the word you used. And I don't think that's funny.
Who-
I really don't.
Do what now?
And I don't think that's funny.
What,
He said at least you wasn't shot at this time. And I don't think that's funny.
but Benita, your issue there is not with the fiscal court.
I understand.
I mean, we're trying to understand what you're wanting the fiscal court to do.
Okay.
I've got a question for the county attorney, if you can answer. You said there's a trial coming up involving Ms. Walker. Did she provide photos or video for that?
Oh, yeah, we've got, we've got video of, well, the video doesn't, well, I don't want to talk about the evidence.
Sure, okay.
But yes, she did provide good evidence for us on
I
that.
just knew last time we had advised her to try to get video and photos and turn those in, and
35 CDs.
Yeah, and that was discussed last court meeting.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm still confused as today. It seems to me, just on the presence, you're wanting this to go public.
Mm-hmm.
And you're utilizing the fiscal court to get your message
Yes, I
out
am.
as public.
Yes, I am.
I'm assuming that's not the best way, because the fiscal court is an action item. We actually take action. We discussed what we can and can't do. If this is just to be public, it's not going to solve your issue, because in my opinion, if we did have the authority to put something in place to stop things like that, then that would be an action item that this court can do, but that's not the case.
Okay.
If you get pics, or if you can identify people trespassing on your property, I would, I'm a landowner, I'm not gonna let them go. I'm gonna turn it over to the authority.
Okay.
I mean, that's what was discussed last meeting.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only advice I can give, unless there's somebody else that can give additional advice that was already given.
Tim, y'all pursue it?
Pursue
You're
if somebody's trespassing? Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. And forgive me, I haven't been here before. I've watched some of the meetings and tried to get some of the information. The 2-hour incident has already been addressed in court, correct? I mean, that was something that was a long
Up to a
time ago.
point, yeah.
So-
It's not,
So I don't think we need to go back and
Right.
rehash things that are already been addressed. You even stated that you recently had somebody trespassing and you never.
I didn't
gave
turn
us-
it- I didn't turn it
You never
in.
gave us those pictures. Sheriff is out of town today, I apologize. He asked me to be here. If he said something to you, he's not here to defend what he said to you or not
Yeah,
said
that's-
to you, so.
that's between us.
Exactly, and that's what I'm asking. Come to us. I mean, if there's if there's a deputy that said something rude to you, if there's somebody that didn't follow up with something,
Follow up.
have you tried coming to us to actually say, can you fix this?
I did.
Because if you're addressing issues that have already been talked about here in court, 2-hour time response, that was some time ago that's already been looked at. So let's move forward.
Okay.
If there's somebody trespassing, please let us know. We can't be everywhere, unfortunately. We have to have the neighbors and the citizens call us, because you can't predict when somebody's going to be on your property. We can't either. So please let us know when it happens, and we will absolutely do our best to assist you with that.
So if I bring you the pictures of him on my property, you'll go to him and tell him, don't come back, in addition to me telling him, don't come back. And if he does come back and I catch him, he'll be cited. Is that the way it usually works? Because they're usually not cited the first time, is that correct?
We can't cite. We have to actually take it through the court system and apply for charges.
Okay, all right.
If we
Okay.
catch them on the property, we can cite for that.
So-
If not, we take it through the court system to seek charges through the court
So a
system.
picture of them on the property is not good enough to cite, is that correct?
With Kentucky law, there are certain charges that we have to be present for before we can issue a citation.
All right.
Trespassing is one of those.
Okay.
We can't just go write him a ticket. Even with evidence, we have to go through the court system to seek criminal charges unless we witness it ourselves.
That makes it a whole lot clearer. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you, Benita. Okay, item B, LaDon Hall from the Census Bureau. She's going to give us an update. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the time to present to you about the 2020 census. It is right around the corner. We are 56 days away from the census. Census Day is April 1st, and we are geared up. We have been in the education phase back in the fall. We are in the awareness phase now. We're rocking and rolling in all of the counties across Kentucky and across the U.S. It is a constitutional mandate to complete the census every 10 years. It started back in 1790 with George Washington asking Thomas Jefferson to make sure there's a complete count of the whole United States, and so ever since then, it's been in the Constitution every 10 years. It apportions the seats of the House of Representatives. So we want a complete count in every community across the state so that we get the right amount of representatives in our House. Now, Kentucky lost a seat due to the census back in 1990, and it'd be nice if we could, always help out how many we can have there. Conducts redistricting at the federal, state, and local levels. That's what making sure that everyone is counted does. Over $675 billion is allotted by the federal government every single year between those 10 years to go to the communities. So if every community is counted accurately, babies all the way up to 199 years old, we want to make sure that every community gets their piece of the pie. Now, that money goes towards family resource programs, free and reduced lunches, your roads, road improvements, businesses. Those Dollar General stores that you see on every corner, They know what they're doing, and their parking lots aren't empty, are they? So they use census data in some way along with many others. So it helps the community plan for future needs and helps nonprofit organizations utilize for grants. Now, that second week of March is whenever every household across the state will receive a letter. The last censuses, there has been a paper form that has automatically been mailed to the houses. This time, technology has advanced in the last 10 years, of course, so a paper letter will be mailed, and in that letter will be a link. We hope everyone will take their smartphone right then and fill it out. It only takes 10 minutes to fill out the census. And if you don't want to fill it out by phone, you don't have internet access or a computer, call the phone number that is on that letter, and you can call in your census questions, your census answers. And if you don't want to do it that way, you can call that phone number and ask for the paper form. So we do have the traditional ways of the paper form and the phone to fill out as well as online. Now, again, that letter is going to come that second week of March. They'll give you about 2 weeks to fill it out. If you haven't filled it out yet, they're going to send you another letter. If you still haven't filled it out in about a week and a half to 2 weeks, they're going to send you another letter. And if you still haven't filled it out, here comes the postcard. If you still haven't filled it out, knock, knock, knock. And as a matter of fact, we are hiring those census takers right now. They are being paid $19 an hour in Marshall County, 58 cents a mile. Go to 2020census.gov/jobs. And as of yesterday, there has been 164 applicants. Out of 188 applicants, 26 have been hired for Marshall County so far as of yesterday. And that is information from our local recruiting assistant. So we want to make sure that everyone is aware that the census is coming out. You saw them doing address canvassing back in the fall where people in their own vehicles had identification and was going around making sure that people lived at this address or they didn't live at this address. That was address canvassing. They are going to count group quarters from February to July. That's our dorms, jails, skilled nursing facilities, so on and so forth. Census Day is April 1. We want that, again, that letter comes out the second week of March. We want to make sure everyone fills it out by April 1st. That's our goal. Now, you can still fill it out till July, but we want everybody to fill it out by April 1st. Internet self-response is March through July. Update leave, those who have post office boxes only. An enumerator will come to your physical address and hand you a paper form to fill out, or the information on how to do it online at your residence. And then non-response follow-up is until July. Now, these questions are confidential. This information is confidential. The census numbers are recorded in statistic format only. They are not interested in the fact that John Doe on 123 ABC Street makes $20,000. They are interested in that family on that street makes $20,000. What resources can we get to them? That is the point. The Census Bureau is required by law under the Title 13 to keep information confidential. I had to affirm an oath on my way to training to not ever share any private information that I may obtain. And I take that seriously. If I do share it, I could face up to 5 years imprisonment, $250,000, and this is for any census taker, any partnership specialist. I'm a partnership specialist, any recruiting assistant, anyone who works with the Census Bureau. So your information is safe, it is confidential, and your information is important. Records are confidential for 72 years, and it is reported for statistical summary only. One of the programs of the census is statistics in schools. Go to census.gov/schools. You'll see all kinds of downloadable lessons that can be taught in the school system. As a matter of fact, all the principals across the U.S. should have received a packet from the Census Bureau with a letter to the teachers and a take-home letter for the families. We want all of the families to receive that take-home letter that first week of March, because that is Census in Schools Week. We are hoping that the schools will promote the census this way by teaching it in the classrooms and by holding contests, essay contests, poster contests, and maybe someone from the Fiscal Court could go judge them or something, or the Complete Count Committee. So, and speaking of the Complete Count Committee, we have a meeting for the Marshall County Complete Count Committee tomorrow, February 5th, here at the Fiscal Courtroom at 10 o'clock, if you are interested in attending the meeting. I also have my business card here that I'll be happy to pass around if you have any questions, if you would like a presentation or anything like that. Now, my most recent information is that has come out is the Census Response Rate Challenge Toolkit. This is online. I will be happy to email it to the Complete Count Committee or to anyone who would like a copy of it. This is a fun opportunity for communities to, for example, challenge another community with what percentages you get in response first. So, for example, you can set a goal for your own community of getting the awareness out there. So we hope for Marshall County, for example, to reach 60% responses on their own by April 1st. Or Marshall County could set goals with a neighboring county and have a little competition, so to speak. There is an online interactive map that will go live that second week of March at census.gov. That will be online. I'll be happy to get that to you. That way you can see where your own county rates with how many people are returning it. So that is about all that I have right now. Of course, there is so much more that can be discussed about the census, but if you are interested in anything further, definitely, I have my business card. You're welcome to pass that around if you are interested in anything or any more information, or for me to speak to your business. I also have flyers and so on and so forth.
Ms. Hale, can you just reiterate that the census will not be calling people? We have viewers that are older, and we obviously from the Sheriff's Department, there's a lot of identity theft and scams, but can you just reiterate that the census will not be calling people?
That is exactly right. The census will not be making phone calls. The census, they will not be making phone calls, they will not be sending scams.
Requesting personal information like
They will
social
not.
security number and stuff like that?
They will not request your social security number. They will not ask your mother's maiden name, your bank account, your blood type, nothing. Again, it's statistical data only. You may have to write your name down on the questionnaire, but that's in your address. That's for making sure that that your address has completed the census. That's the only identifying factor to make sure that your address has completed the census. When an enumerator comes to your door, and they will only come to your door if you did not complete the census on your own, they will have proper identification. And they will have either an iPad or a phone like this with census on it. They will also have a laptop bag with census on it. Now, they will be in their personal vehicle, so there's no way for them to have the magnet or anything like that. You can also go to 2020census.gov/rumors to find out what's going on out there nationally as far as scams, or is this really happening, or something like that. And if you get an email, it needs to have a .gov behind it. So,
Thank you.
So
Yeah, I
to
think that's-
reiterate, you said they will not come to your house if you fill that out prior to April 1st.
that is correct. That is correct. They will not come to your house if you fill it out on your own, if you have filled it out on your own. Not necessarily prior to April 1st,
okay.
because every community is going to
Okay.
have its own schedule, so to speak,
Okay.
you know. But, and if someone does come to your house and they do not have identifying features, that's when you would call enforcement.
So just out of curiosity, is that updated daily? So like if I'm on someone's list to come to my house and I fill it out the
It's-
night before, just out of curiosity, how often is that updated so that they would take my name off their list?
As far as I understand, it is.
Okay.
They have a very high system of encryption and finding duplicates and getting it recorded.
Yeah.
So,
Just, again, if you don't want a house visit, the
Mm-hmm.
best way to address that is to fill that out.
and these,
First letter go out?
the second and third week of March is when the letter goes out, because they go out nationally. Look at how many millions of people it has to go to. But the website goes live March 12th. So the first people will receive theirs March 12th through 20th is basically the dates that the letters will go out. And in that letter will be a code. The URL will be there, and there will be a code for your household. We want one person of each household to take charge and fill out the census for that household. They could be multi-generational household, different families living together, different races, genders living together, college roommates living together. That's okay. We want to count everyone once, only once, and in the right place.
Perfect.
Thank you
All right.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Item C, Mike Walliver from the Transportation Cabinet. Good morning, sir.
Thank you, Judge, and members of the court for allowing me to come this morning and present the rural secondary recommendations for Marshall County. I brought my bodyguards with me here, so if y'all get too rough on me, I've got Kyle and Jason Looper here with me. But as in years past, I've come to present the rural secondary recommendations for Marshall County. The Marshall County tentative allocation for 2020-2021 is $1,335,945. The undistributed balance left in the account after all the projects last year were completed is $176,426. The recommendations, the first recommendation is the maintenance of 130.004 miles of state rural secondary roads at $3,500 per mile for a total of $455,014. Minus the county expenses leaves a balance for improvements of $1,059,941. Now, I've passed out an updated sheet, Judge. I hope you got one. Item number 3 there has been adjusted slightly, so the third recommendation would be the county flex funds. Once again, this year, as in years past, we've carved out a portion of these funds to be sent back to the county to do county road projects, paving, or what have you. This year, Marshall County falls in the 20% bracket, so 20% of $1,335,945 is $267,189. So at some point soon, y'all will send in a list through Wendy or through the judge of county roads, and we'll evaluate them and send those on to Frankfurt. The next recommendation is Kentucky 1949, which is Wadesboro Road, from Kentucky 3526 to Kentucky 408. It's 3 miles of resurfacing for a total of $290,741. Next, the road is Kentucky 962, which is Olive Hamlet Road, from Kentucky 402 to Kentucky 1897. It's a total of 2.9 miles for a total of $274,449. The last recommendation is Kentucky 1422, Benton-Brownsburg Road, which is starts at the Bethel Cemetery Road and goes to the end of it, which is Morse Camp Highway. And that's a total of 1.6 miles for $227,562. As in years past, like I said earlier, there's a chance that these projects may come in cheaper than that, so it may throw us into an undistributed balance, but these monies have to be spent in Marshall County, so they can't be transferred anywhere else. So if we see that prices are drastically dropping and we can sneak in another project or two, we will. If not, that money will roll over into next year. On the back, I have a map denoting where all of these projects are. You'll notice there are several other projects that I have marked that will either be paved through other pots of money or other projects. Starting at the top, US 62, there's a safety project that will probably happen this summer. So we're going to do some widening on US 62. It's a safety project. Those blobs, for better terms, those right there are areas where we're going to put turn lanes. Got a couple of places where large trucks go back to the plants quite often, and so we're going to give them some turn lanes, some relief to get off the roadway and let traffic continue. Also, there's a the intersection at 95 there at Calvert off of 62. We're going to redo the lighting and stuff at that intersection, the phasing, and widen the turn lane there as well. And then the other at 1610 off of 62, we're going to do a two-way turn lane there as well. And where Calvert Drive comes back in 262 from behind the IGA, we're going to put that at a better angle so that it's not such a severe entry into US 62. We've also got the US 62 from the State Park entrance that we're currently under construction. That project's going well. We hope to have that done this fall. We've already planted trees, done some paving out there. So if you haven't seen that project, I encourage you to go look at it. It's going to be a really nice project. Continuing clockwise down the page, you see 1422, then you see Main and Poplar. That's a project that will be going on, we hope, this summer. That should be in the March letting for that project. So you'll see that coming up this summer. 962, then you've got 641 there at Hardin. We'll be doing some intersection improvements there. That'll be happening hopefully this summer as well. 1949, US 641 Spur. We're going to be doing a couple of things there this summer. The first thing is at 58, we're going to put in a dedicated drop lane or a turn lane where there currently we have some delineators there where we're keeping people from swinging over onto the shoulder and making a right-hand turn onto 58. It at times causes a backup. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in there and make a dedicated turn lane so people don't have to stop at the light. If they're wanting to go to 58, they can just get over into the storage lane and make the right-hand turn. So we're going to do that. Also, we're going to pave from the Parkway Bridge, and we're going to go about 2.3 miles, both north and southbound lanes on the spur. That's going to be paved as well. That'll be a mill and fill project. So that'll be happening this fall as well, or this summer, hopefully. And then the last project that I have on there is 5th Street, which I would say 5th Street is probably 80 to 85% done. We still have about 1.5 to 2 inches of asphalt that we have to put on there. That's why days like this morning, there was water standing at the curb because we're still a little low. But as soon as the asphalt plants open up in the spring, that's one of the first projects they're going to take care of. So once that's paved, hopefully all those drainage issues will be taken care of.
I appreciate it. I know the one 58 and 641, I know that was, we got a lot of calls on that location, so that's good to hear that that's going to get fixed. I know
Yeah,
you
we
guys
plan on
spent some
doing
time
that.
out there.
We plan on doing that as soon as the weather breaks. Hopefully, probably into May or end of April, 1st of May, we'll do it, and then try to get a paving contractor in there just as quick as we can to get that knocked out.
Perfect.
I've got a question on the flex funds. You said Marshall County falls in the 20% bracket. How is
Yes.
that determined exactly?
What they do is they go through all of our rural secondary roads, and Frankfurt classifies them by level of service. And so the way they look at it is if our state roads are in very poor condition and need more money, they only give the county 15% because we need to work on our state roads as well. For counties that the state roads have a very high level of service, they're in really good shape, they give more of that money back to the counties because, you know, we're in pretty good shape. Let's share the wealth and let y'all have a little bit too. So Marshall County's rural secondary roads, now keep in mind rural secondary is a small portion. It's only 130 miles of our network in Marshall County, but for the most part, the rural secondary roads in Marshall County are in pretty good shape. We have small patches here and there, which we have some potholes, we have some spalling, we have some things that we already have lists made up. As soon as the contractor opens up their plants, we're going to knock those sections out as well. We probably, I would say, have 3 or 4 miles total that we're also going to do. We've got some sections on 68, you know, Johnny's Barbershop right there. It's terrible. You know, we're going to take care of that. Those aren't real secondary funds, but we have another pot of money where we're going to take care of some of these other trouble spots and, you know, get those as quick as we can. So.
Thank you.
962 on here, shouldn't that be Old Olive Road instead of?
It may
Olive
be,
Hill?
and I
Yeah.
usually say that before because we go by numbers, y'all
Yeah.
go by local road
Yeah,
names.
yeah.
So if there's any of them that are incorrect, so what was you saying, Olive?
Old Olive Road's
Old
what it
Olive,
should be,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I can change that. That's good, no problem. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm super excited because at first we were estimating about 200,000 and we're going to get 267,000. So
Yeah,
that
and
made
that
my
goes
day.
back to,
When he told me before
you
the
know,
meeting, I was like, yeah,
our road,
another road.
our road network is, in Marshall County, is in pretty good shape. So we kind of want to share that wealth a little bit and let you all have a little bit more of that money, so.
Project that's undergoing, and you
we'll
mentioned
take
Fifth
it
Street,
from
there.
and I don't know if there's numbers, but I know safety-wise, what we've seen,
Right.
where you're going, if you're going out towards Interstate 69 now,
Mhm.
it's two-lane, you turn right into Walmart, and then it continues two-lane, and then there's just a turning lane into Walmart. What we
Right.
find frequently, and there's been some collisions there, people realize, wait, I can't go straight up to the interstate, and they're having to cut back
Have to
over.
cut back over in front of somebody.
And then immediately get back over to the right.
Right.
Is there anything looking at to see, does that need to be continued all the way to the interstate?
And part of that is, you know, there are a lot of pavement markings that are to go there to let people know, hey, you can't, you know, you're gonna have to get over if you wanna go to I-69. And then also, we're gonna have some signs that are gonna hang from the lights there. But those haven't completely been done yet because the final surfacing hasn't been done. So here, you know, in the next 8 weeks or so, whenever the final surfacing is done, we'll put those thermoplastic markings on the roadway, and I believe that will take care of the situation. If not, we've got other avenues where we can definitely take a look at that, because I've been out there, you know, several times as well, and I know it's an issue right now. We're hoping that once we get all the pavement markings down permanently, that it'll fix the situation.
Okay.
But if it doesn't, feel free to, as always, let us know, because
Right.
sometimes we don't know about a situation until somebody calls and tells us, so.
And I appreciate you and your crew. Anytime I get in contact with y'all get out there pretty quick. My constituents appreciate it a lot. So
Yeah.
Appreciate
That's
all
what we're
of
here
you.
for. Anytime you need us, holler at us.
All right. I appreciate it, Mike.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Kyle, good seeing you. We'll go to item D, John Board, with Kentucky Department of Agriculture. Good morning, sir.
Morning, Judge, members of the Fiscal Court. In fiscal year 2019, we expanded our partnership program with the Mosquito Patrol, and we expanded that to Marshall County. We had a good working relationship. On behalf of the executive staff and the commissioner, we'd like to offer that program again for fiscal year 2020.
And we've got, I was talking with Wendy, the same employee that did that last time through this contract, who got the training. I know you and I had talked about that too. He's going to continue to do that, so we won't have to go through that training, and that should be an easy transition. But this agreement that we went into last year, the court needs an action item on this if we were to continue this, and this is the mosquito spraying, basically, is what everybody refers to it as.
I move that we approve the memorandum.
Is there a
Second.
Second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
That's probably
Any
the,
questions?
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
thanks, John.
Thank you.
We'll move on to let's see, old business, approve the minutes, January 21st meeting.
So move.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Bid opening, road department, item B under old business.
Let's see here. I'll read you the advertisement that was put in the paper. Marshall County Fiscal Court will be accepting sealed bids to purchase a used day cab truck. The specs are listed below. Used 2010 to 2019 day cab truck, minimum of 450 horsepower, straight shift, under 250,000 miles, minimum of 40,000 rear axle and 12,000 front axle. Bids will need to be submitted to the Judge's Executive's Office of the Marshall County Courthouse by 12 p.m. February 3rd, 2020. For more information, please contact Wendy Greer at 270-527-3173. Marshall County Fiscal Court reserves the right to reject any and all bids. And we do have one dated January 30th, 2020 for 2012 Mac, and some letters and numbers, for a total of $55,000. And I'll let, truck specs are 124,980 were the miles, and then some more numbers and letters, so. I'll give this to
Wendy, take a look at that. We'll move on to new business, surplus items.
There's a list, I'm going to read you real quick, there's a bunch of park, just stuff we need to get rid of. 2 printers, 3 lamps, 3 end tables, 1 coffee table, 1 couch, 1 love seat, 1 mirror, 2 pictures, 1 clock, 10 chairs, 2 plants, 1 dining table, 1 cabinet, 4 golf cart wheels and tires, 4 hand dryers, 7 toilet roll holders, 2 disc golf stands, and 1 floor buffer that's here. So that's all stuff that we've identified that we don't use and need. So by statute, we have to declare it surplus and just give it the authorization to, we'll probably put most of it on Gov Deals, and if we don't get anything from it, we tend to just give things away. So
How many toilet roll holders?
there were 7 toilet roll holders.
Are we certain there's not?
And 2 plants. Now, whether the plants are alive or dead, I can't confirm that.
You know that?
They're dead. Good.
I move we surplus those items.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Track Traders is the one that submitted the bid. They had called me last week saying that they was gonna submit something, so I sent Jacob down there to look at it, and he advised that it's something that we do not want. It's got a lot of issues, he thinks, so
Okay.
I recommend that we deny the bid.
All right.
You need a formal
Let's take an
denial.
action item on
Yep.
it, yeah.
So moved. I move we deny the bid.
Is there a second? I think, Justin, you second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll continue to look for this item. It's a low boy, so we'll keep looking. I know Gov Deals, they temporarily have, or sometimes we'll have something come out. I know there's some auctions out there, so we'll just keep searching for that item. It's one that's seldom used, but when it is needed, it's
Right.
needed. New business, item B, personnel.
This is an approval for Wendy to hire Kurt Ives as a part-time employee at $14 an hour. Just need approval on that.
So moved.
Gonna be flagging and
Oh,
doing
it's
labor
road
work.
department?
At the road department, yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't hear that.
Sorry, I said Wendy. I guess I should have said
Okay,
road
I'm
department.
sorry.
He retired?
Make
So
that
moved.
motion.
First and the second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item C, mowing bids.
Just need approval to advertise to accept bids for mowing and weed eating our now 18 county properties. And I can list those if you want to hear where they are or anything. Other than that, I just need approval to go ahead and advertise.
So moved.
Second.
Real quick, because I know I talked, I'm glad y'all are still here. I know we talked about that piece of property out in Aurora. District 1's going to work on finalizing that. I would say with our mowing bid, the intent is to put that in our mowing bid.
And we did include that. I know I talked to the gentleman that was awarded the bid last year, and he had asked about that property, and I didn't know where we
Yeah.
were with it. So if you guys want me to put it in there, because that's, I mean, it's not an easy, just square to
Yeah.
go mow. It's
It might be something where we put that in there as,
extra.
yeah, just to get a figure until we finalize the paperwork. Does that sound all right? Yeah. Okay, so I just want to update you on that. Yeah, go ahead.
What the judge and I talked about is we have the deed and everything written up on our end. We already had it surveyed out and had been waiting for the fiscal court to make the approval. Of course, the judge told me that you all have made that, so I've got our folks working on finalizing what we need to send over to you all to execute the transfer.
Okay, perfect. So,
I just want to make sure that we have a good idea what those boundaries are, where it needs to be mowed. Because I think he went down there last year and kind of looked at it, and we didn't really know what to tell him where the boundaries were. So we can work together to make sure we put it in there so they know what they're bidding on. Be good.
Yep.
Thanks.
So there was a first and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item D, elected officials 2020 salary schedule. That's the, you should have a copy of that. That's from the Office of the Governor, Department for Local Government. It is to the treasurer. It is, please find enclosed copies of materials recently mailed to the county constitutional officers, notifying them of maximum salary guidelines for the 2020 calendar year in accordance with KRS Chapter 64 and Section 246 of the Kentucky Constitution. These salary guidelines reflect adjustments to statutory maximums in the order to maintain an equivalent purchasing power. 2020 salary maximum for county commissioners, magistrates, and coroners is $77,624.97. The actual salary is determined by the action of the fiscal court, but may not exceed the aforementioned maximum. Our office has notified each county commissioner, magistrate, and coroner via regular mail as of these salary guidelines. Salaries for the offices of the county judge executive, county clerk, county sheriff, and county jailer, as required by KRS 64-5275-1998, are presented on the schedules enclosed. The increase from last year's maximum salaries is 2.3% for all officials postings covered by this position or this letter. We have emailed the aforementioned officials their respective salary schedules and salary guidelines. They will not receive notification via regular mail. In addition, you will find salary information relative to your county attorney. If you have any questions about these materials, please feel free to contact me or any staff member in our county's branch. And that's Robert Brown from DLG. That's not an action item, that's just a...
Just to clarify, that is a maximum, not what that's the allowable maximum, not what we actually receive.
Right.
So that I don't want someone to think that we're getting paid $77,000.
Okay. Yeah. No, but this is not an action item for the 64-5275.
It's not a 2.3% increase in the actual, right? It's just 2.3% increase in the maximum. Yeah.
They're not saying that we have to do that.
Yeah.
They're
No.
saying
Right.
that you can, this is.
No, this is just to
Ceiling.
advise the court.
Yeah.
Yes. That's not an action item. It's not an action item. This is just to update the court.
That's
Salary
informational to let you know what the ceiling is.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Um,
I think everybody's well below the ceiling, so.
Yes. All right, item E, fiscal court audit. This is from Auditor of Public Accounts, Auditor Mike Harmon's office, fiscal year 2020 fiscal court audit. Dear Judge Neal, in response to your recent request, we hereby decline to conduct the above referenced audit due to current resource limitations and approve your employing a private certified public accounting CPA firm to conduct this audit. The Auditor of Public Accounts does not recommend or endorse any CPA firms to perform audit work for state or local agencies. We do recommend you consider the following factors when selecting a CPA firm. The Kentucky Society of Certified Public Accountants website provides information on CPA firms by county, industry, and service. The Kentucky Board of Accountancy has a consumer guide and maintains a list of licensed firms. The board can also advise if a firm you are considering has any complaints or disciplinary issues, we recommend you request a copy of the firm's most recent peer review as part of your evaluation process. What we did is we sent a letter to the state auditor's office asking them if they were going to be doing our 2020 audit. This is their letter declining that they're not going to be doing it. So then we can actually go out and identify the auditors to do, or the CPA firm to do our audit. We were fine with Romaine. They did a good job. That's going to be our recommendation, to go ahead and just use Romaine. We'll send out a letter to them and see if they're fine with doing it. But it is professional services, so I think we did bids last year, and we only got one. And I think
No, I think we got more than one, didn't we?
Yeah.
I thought we did. Yeah, it was.
I don't, well, either way.
A couple times, so I think one time we got 3.
Yeah, we've gotten more in years past, but I think we didn't get that many last year, because I know I reached out to Romaine and asked them to participate, because we weren't getting that many. But I was fine with Romaine, so.
Yes, and I've talked to Mr. Romaine. They're going to send us another official letter with their estimated
Okay.
charge.
So when they do that, we'll present it to the court for review. And then item E, obviously, you got the fiscal court audit, year ending June 30, 2018. So that audit is in. I know the Brian from Ross Sinclair, I know they had been wanting a copy of it, so we got them a copy of that. But,
So they do
hopefully-
an exit interview, I guess, right? And then those are our answers to them.
Right.
Our replies to them.
Yeah, around page 40 starts.
Yeah.
Where they give
Yep.
their findings, and then right after that's our
Gotcha.
answer.
Yeah, okay. And some of them we've actually already
Yes, a lot of them have
changed.
already
The
been addressed.
Inspector and, yeah.
Do we need to accept this or just present it? Do we need to accept this or just present it? Item F, appropriations transfer.
Okay, on the appropriation transfers for today, they're all interfund transfers. Most of them are smaller amounts as well. We do have a transfer to the Tourism Department of Transient Tax. It's $6,535.84.
Move we approve transfer.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item G, payment of the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. I do want to update the court that we did get, we had 2 of our assets that were damaged by wind or storms, and they're covered under our insurance. There was nothing that was filed, so we actually went out and reviewed the assets. We filed the insurance claim on those assets, and we turned them in, and Keiko cut us a check. What was that total?
For 2 of them, they're for the sirens.
Yeah.
There were, 2 of them were a little over $26,000 apiece.
A piece.
So we got 2 checks to cover for those.
Yeah, so we have full cost to cover those 2 items to replace. So I just want to update the court on that. So we got those checks this week. So if there's,
Just as a matter, since we've got a short meeting, I'll go ahead and give a quick update on a matter of, that has received some public attention. Representative Chris Freeland, at the request of me and Dennis Faust and the families of Preston Cope and Bailey Holt, has submitted a bill that would create an exception to the open records to protect gruesome photos and videos from being released as part of an open records request. And just as an update to the court and the public, he's invited me and Dennis and the families to go to Frankfurt Thursday to appear before a committee. And he reports positive feedback from just about every source on that. So looks like we're moving in a good direction on that for those families.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about that. That's a good bill because I agree, those items don't need to be out on social media and other platforms. Good. That's this Thursday?
Thursday.
All right.
I've got one thing, new business. Is that okay now?
What is it?
I've got one item on new
To
business.
update the court? Yeah.
Yeah. It's pertaining to the boat ramp at Big Bear, and I know there's been some discussion in the past on this. I was out there yesterday. It's kind of hit and miss with all the rain as far as the lake level, being able to view it. You can use both sides of the ramp. This time of year, the right side is really in bad condition. There's actually been a case I've spoke to Bill Donnelly with Donnelly Marine. He reached out to me with some complaints on this, on repairs he's done. There was one trailer that was hung in the crack in the ramp where the concrete's busted apart. He stated that the U-boats from the axles are getting hung on the ramp, and then they have no choice but to back up further. And when they do, the axle gets hung. At that point, when they're pulling forward, it will either displace the axle, usually on just one side, or in some cases has taken the axle off the trailer. There's also, he had a recommendation also at some point when the repairs were done or even before, putting some markers back there in the form of signage indicating the end of the ramp. He seems to think that would help a lot with people going in too far. I've got some photos of the concrete. It is a concern from a safety standpoint and a usage standpoint. And, you know, summertime, it's not visible, but coming from a boater, you walk around in the water, unhooking and hooking on your boat, and there's definitely some safety concerns there. So I hope we can.
That's actually old business.
And we got an update, yeah. We're actually meeting with the state agency tomorrow to
Greg
go down
Logan,
there.
yeah.
Greg Logan from the state. They did the work at Kentucky Dam. So Wendy and myself and one of the maintenance crew, we're going to go down there with them. They've offered to share some resources as far as how to do it and what kind of, how you pour the concrete. And then what we were waiting on is the lake level to get to a certain measurement to start that work. So it's there now, and I would say we'll get a timeline. We'll probably be doing the work, I would say, next week. I mean, assuming that the lake level is going to stay where it's at, but we've already got all that in motion.
Okay. The signage, is that something that anybody thinks we need to consider doing on that? I mean, if the repairs, if it extended out, the new concrete that's put in, if it extends out far enough, in my opinion, that would take care of that. But it just depends if it's going to go the same distance as what's there, or if it's going to go out further. Do you know, Wendy?
Right, I don't know yet. Greg Logan from Fish and Wildlife is coming down tomorrow, and he's going to shoot elevations and stuff to see, you know, how much further it needs to go out, or if he thinks it's okay where it's, you know, where it's at now. The only thing that concerns me about putting signs out is someone backing into it if they get off, you know, get over too far or whatever. Because we did put a sign up last
Signs
year
out,
trying to warn them of where the hole, you know, where it was dropping off at, and it got hit several times, so we went out there and pulled it up.
Well, hopefully the new pads will take care of that.
Right.
So that should be done this winter, we're thinking?
Yes,
Okay.
we're trying to get it done as soon as
Awesome.
possible because the lake level is at 354 right now,
Right.
and that's where it needs to be before we could do anything. So
Right.
he's coming in tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you
Yeah, I
get
think-
complaints and stuff like that, call my office because I know
We've
we've
got
been
an update.
working.
We've been working on it for
for
a couple
a
years.
while.
Every time, yeah, we've been trying to do it for a couple years. So we got that got that squared away. Brittany, I think you,
Yeah, so just as a caveat to that, I guess, we have had the other requests. I'm getting ready to start. I've been pricing this week several new signage options for a lot of the day parks, which included all those boat ramps and things like that. So we're going to be getting new uniform signage at the entrances to all of our day parks. That should help deter some of our issues that we're having at night, but I think it'll just also make it better for our boaters and people that are coming out. So we're looking at, one thing that people had asked for was water depth markers, so they can actually tell how deep the water is there. So that issue had been brought up about marking the end of the ramp, but it was kind of the same thing that Wendy had said, was that it was just kind of a hazard for people to back into. But what I have done is I've reached out to, there's a network of directors for parks across the country, and I've been talking back and forth to a couple of other park directors who have lakefront day parks to kind of see what they're using and see if they have any other resources, and I'm hoping to talk to one of those today. So we should have some new different options that we might be able to look into for signage actually at the waterfront on the day parks coming soon.
This is probably a question for you and the county attorney, and I've witnessed this firsthand. There's nothing more frustrating to a boater to have a vehicle and a trailer, and you put your boat in, and usually there's limited parking with the exception of the dam. I'm referring specifically to the Sled Creek launching facility. And you go up there to park your vehicle, and there's a passenger car in a spot meant for a trailer and tow vehicle. I would like to see some signage there with some law enforcement consequences for parking a vehicle there without a trailer.
Okay. I don't know how that falls under.
I don't know.
It's, and I saw the pictures that you sent us. I mean, this is a parking space at a boat ramp. Obviously, when they do I think 19 feet is the original, or for a regular vehicle, that distance. But, I mean, just as we heard from trespassing from Bonita, I mean, the sheriff's department, to go out and enforce these day-use parks for people that are legally parking in a parking space, it is frustrating, but I believe that weekend that you took those pictures was Memorial Day weekend. So that weekend, we had a lot of people that come to the lake. I personally don't think that we can actually go out and cite vehicles that are parked in a parking space. There is no signage right now. If we make it specific to boat trailers with trucks or vehicles that are towing a boat trailer, typically somebody that goes and meets a party that's going to get on a boat to go out on the lake, where are they going to park? And additional parking may be an issue.
Every time I've witnessed this, there's been other parking. They just chose not to walk on up the hill and park there.
Yeah.
I'm open to doing whatever. I'll sit back down.
Sure,
I'm open to
sure.
doing whatever.
No,
whatever is within, whatever I
Yeah.
can do is fine there.
Yeah. I mean, I know my office, I've been here 5 years, and I haven't had overwhelming complaints of people parking. I don't know, as a sheriff's department, do y'all get complaints of?
I'm unaware of that particular complaint. I don't
Yeah.
have other activity we deal with, obviously, at some of those ramps, but I'm unaware personally of those kind of complaints. But
Yeah. I mean, there are
is that-
weekends.
I'm not for certain. Is that something we can, that'd have to be an ordinance or something to cite
Yeah,
for that, I believe?
As it stands
Yes.
now, I don't think we could take any action.
Yeah.
If, of course, this would be just the legislator's prerogative of this court, if we wanted to research and see if we wanted to pass an ordinance
Right.
regulating that. But
Can we not put any signage, truck and trailer parking only, or can we not even do that?
you can, but I mean, there's not going to be teeth behind it.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to do that.
Well, let's back up. The procedural process is we follow agenda. To put an action item on an agenda, this is what you're asking, is an action item. To put signage up, we just went through the process of discussion, but an ordinance, you're wanting teeth. Putting a sign up, there's costs involved in putting the signs up. And I personally haven't had complaints to my office of parking at our day-use parks.
I have. Most of the ramps are in my district, And I hear people complain about it when I'm at the lake personally, so if we need to do that, then let's put it on the agenda for the next meeting then.
Can you bring me your complaints so that I can review them?
If I've still got some of them, most of them are verbal. Most
Okay.
people call or come in my office.
All right. All right. Any other business? Oh, yeah. This is just to update the court. This is an old business item. Slickback Road water project began yesterday. So that's one that we helped finance. And, Jonathan Creek Water District, we've talked about how it's a seasonal water district. They have revenue that comes in, and off-season, their revenue drops. I know that they had another project that they were trying to keep employment, actual laborers out there doing the work, and it's difficult for them to keep folks working to go out and do these projects. We discussed actually working with another water district to where they can cost share equipment and labor. And this is another project where it's much needed to help not only just extend the lines, but it's also to help generate revenue so they can have monies to actually do more projects. Because that's one of the constraints that they have is their revenue stream during the off-season. And I know there's times where they go, the board goes budget to budget, month to month, trying to figure out how they're going to, get these projects completed. But that's good to hear that Slickback project began yesterday.
Immediately add 15 to 20 new customers that could have the potential to add a few more, because there's a few roads off of Slickback of folks down there that are interested in water. So it's a big issue in the south end of the county.
Good. All right. If there's nothing else to discuss, we need a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.